I'm live. Come hear my opinion about phenomenal events. The topic of today is phenomena. Every time I rise, there's something to notice. And these are things that you notice when you are an advanced being. Now, that's not me boasting on myself. What it is facts, like phenomena. Earlier today, I was driving and when I tell individuals to trust their instincts, it is because you need to. It is something that the big G gives us, some of us, for awareness. You ever just knew something was going to happen, sensed something was going to happen, and you decided to not follow your first mind? And boom, whatever you thought was going to take place took place. And you start to say, if I just would have, there's that is taking place every day, all day. It leaves a energy signature in the universe and in the cosmos that you don't trust yourself. Some don't have it, but advanced beings should. And that's the point. If you are an old soul or you believe you are an old soul, then you are an advanced being. At some point, you were supposed to advance. Maybe you descended for whatever reasons, because there's various reasons why you descend. Now, keep in mind that there is always dual meanings to anything that I state, and everyone on different intellectual scales is going to take what I'm saying differently, and you're supposed to. There was an accident, and I seen it. The left and the right sides matter, right? When I seen it, it was on my left side. I said, "Wow, that's an accident," because you see all the popo, you see the fire trucks and all the stuff, right? But it's not directly in my midst, right? So wow, there's an accident on the side. I hope they're okay. People that are good beings that are naturally good people. You're gonna look some rubberneck, but you know ones that think twice are gonna say, I don't want to cause another one, so I'm not going to do too much trying to see what happened or start filming or whatever. Because you don't want to cause another one, right? Trust your instincts. So I didn't drive past it. I noticed it on my left side. There's something about the left side. For me. For you, it could be your right side. Now, as I'm coming back, I encounter it. And right to where this accident took place, so much mist came on my window shield, the front glass. And one of the angels said, that's what happened there. Now, I have driven past this place multiple times. throughout the years. But as an ascended being, things are different. You 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 know, some areas that you go in, you say it's something about this area. It's something about this home, this project, this person that the red flags, you know, like a lot of parks, not just memorials and things of that sort, but parks. You have to understand that when it becomes a landmark like that, something that is protected, it is because something happened there once upon a time. So it's like, yeah, they want to take something that has a very low vibration and uplift it. And what better way to do it to put growing children in there, innocent children. So all of that negative energy could dissipate. This incident happened by a park. And when I got there, it was so much mist on my window shade. And I turned on my windshield wipers. And when I passed the incident, I mean, I'm like, it's not taking off. It's not coming off. It's not the windshield wipers. I must gotta change them. Instantly, that's what you think. I gotta change my windshield wipers. There's nothing wrong with my windshield wiper. And then something say, look at the other cars on each side of you. They don't have their windshield wipers on. Their window looks clear. Phenomena. I know I wasn't tripping because I was alert. When you live a life like me, in my circumstance, in my energy, you have to be alert because there's things that happen throughout the day that you're supposed to notice. And that was one of them. I said, this is one example, another one that I had not thought about of how you could be in the same place as someone else and experiencing something totally different. Kind of like the metaphor. I have a card, an oracle card, where it's raining in one spot on someone and everything else is sunny. When you think about the concepts, when people do work like cards, oracle cards, tarot cards, you have to look at what is taking place in their environment on that picture because we're talking about spirituality. Even in the Holy Bible, you have to notice what is taking place before and after so you can get the context. Now, I've said it before, we don't know how to interpret the Bible, any type of sacred doctrine, because it's not of our era, it's not of our timeline. One thing means one thing to them, and it means something totally different to us. So we can try to interpret it with our thoughts, with our thinking, but more than likely it's not accurate unless you have connection with someone from that era. Then they'll be able to say, no, that's not right. But a lot of times when you dealing with beings like that, they don't want to talk about that era for whatever reason. Just like the elderly. It's not too many that will tell you about their experience growing up. Not willingly, you know. To them it's sacred. Why do you want to know about my rearing? Yeah, phenomena. The big G will put you through something that only you could understand. And if you try to go to someone that is not heightened in their awareness about the possibilities of what could take place in a body, then this is why you gotta be sound mind and body. You can't be walking around intoxicated all the time because someone is going to say that is the reason why all of this stuff happens to you. I'm somebody that understands hexagonos. So if you were to come to me and say this, that, and the third, right? First of all, I'm not gonna want to read it. It's gonna all come out, all of it, gradually. It's not just a one and done process. When you're talking about spiritual practices and hexes, it's not. So y'all can just throw that out the window. All practitioners know this. This is a fact. But you have to know what to ask for. If you don't know what to ask for, you're just gonna go for the quick fix. Just put some icing on top of the cake and it's all done. One and done. No, it's not. You gotta get to the root. And it is expensive if it's done right. If you are an ascended being, you know that at one point you were. You were. In this era, in that era, as this person, as that person, as this gender, as that gender, in this situation, in that situation. This is just a fact. So anyone that is running around saying that they ain't never been through nothing, that they don't have no karma, that if they mistaken dharma for karma, already off top they done did something to someone because they can't even grasp the concept correctly. You know, like they can't retain information. Information as important as dharma or karma. If I were to ask an elect one, what does dharma mean? They would give me a whole different meaning. Every time I come on, it's always someone in an Oscanio that wants to just randomly throw out words. So what y'all hear when I stop is my team. Because these ones, they're not protected. They know it by now. Because of all the stuff that they did, all of the stuff that they did throughout lifetimes. It's so many elect ones waiting for them to get in their region. That's how it works, y'all. This is why it sounds so far away from some of y'all. They want me to give ins and outs. See, when I touch on a situation that they know is happening to them, they no longer want to spurt out words to see if they can convince each other that they are controlling me, which is ridiculous. Phenomenon. I know that the big G works in mysterious ways. Because I didn't ask what happened there, I was too busy listening, focusing. I told the big G, put me where they at, because y'all for sure would see me on the news. I'm for sure about it. Because they are so bold with the things that they say. If the big G were to unleash these things, where some of y'all that have ascended and hear it is at, you feel the same way. You be like, you know what? Look, I can't take it no more. I can't. I'll be doing the world a service. It's so many. Don't feel like you're alone because it's so many that are in observance, and this is what comes out behind the scenes. Those of you that feel like you don't need to be behind the scenes are so close to it. You feel like I'm going to talk about it publicly, and when I talk about it publicly, you still don't get the information that you're supposed to get. You know that I know it's there. Someone wants it to be over. I want it to be over 3 years ago. It's going on 4 years. Because I said to myself, I said, look, you know, this should last probably about a year. And then after I got into the third year, I was like, well, I'm almost 50. And then one of the archangels said, this has been happening since the beginning of time. It's just we had not ascended high enough to know that it is taking place. Imagine that. I said, Big G, I just want a normal life. I don't want to hear. Most people that get fed up, that's what they say. Why I gotta do this? Why I gotta save the world? You know, they don't think about me. No one's thinking about me. And you know, you just like and don't be going through a hard time, a hardship. I was in a situation, y'all, where someone wanted me to see happy families and me to feel alone. This was a person that had something done to her. And because she thought she protected herself with a candle, she wanted me to believe that everything that was happening to her was happening to me so that I could go after them. This is what they do. Every time she hears her name spiritually, she says, who? Ether? And laughs. There's a whole host of them that do it. They're all in the same region, all of them. They feel like they are allies, and then they arc, put a stalk in front of each other on these different apps. They go on under Fugazi accounts, act like they're someone else. It's one, it came out in the reading. Some of y'all need to join the membership, tier 2 specifically, because one of y'all believe that you are communicating with the opposite gender and they're the same gender. You think you're communicating with one person and you're not. It's been so much going on. Listen, someone got taken out, and all of them sat and listened to it. All of them. And then they said, make them think that ether was listening to it. This is a upset spiritually. This is what they do. My members don't hear that. Some of them used to hear you, but they don't any longer because they're members. That is what God granted me. Just like after I noticed the incident there, I said, this is too much, Big G. It's too much. I know that I'm not the only person, but it's too much for me. You know, it's too much. And then I thought about NSVJs because I am an empath. Let me tell you all something. If you are around the NSVJ, it is hard, especially when you ascended and they've ascended and they don't know it, and they're still holding on to false teachings that are outdated for them. You're going to get a mixture of all kind of different beings. When I say NSVJ, that is the worst that I know of because I can put a name to it and y'all can say, okay, well, this is what she's talking about. There's others. Now, I know that I'm an empath. I've known that I've been an empath since I was in my 20s. You don't know the severity, the ins and outs of a psychic gift, something that you were born with, until you go through it and you recollect. Well, this is why this happened. This happened when I did this. NSVJs have it worse because a lot of times they don't even know they're being projected on, just like empath. But the way we absorb it is different. So I said Big J, Big G, his name Big J. I said Big G. I'm gonna take this moment to protect the NSVJs and the empath. It's just that moment. I started feeling down, you know. I started feeling down and I said, I'm just gonna take this negative energy that is surely being reflected towards me because they wanted empaths to feel it. Because in their minds, we feel it the most because we absorb energy. And so I'm gonna take this moment. It's important when you got a role, a spiritual role, when you have a gift like that, to not always think about yourself because it works when you say a collective of people. That's what you got it for. Because then it changes the energy signature of the earth. Let me tell you something. NSVJs have been documented medically. They call it something else, a multitude of things. This is back. I picked you up in the behind the scenes reading. So don't try to say that it is me with this, because it's you. When you said hello to your coworker this morning, she said it's him. Husband, 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 husband. He left. He'll be back. That's an example of what happens to empath. When you have beings that project on you, and these ones they go to sleep saying, I'm bound to ether, I'm bound to ether. So when I pull their energy, which they can't figure out if they want me to pull it or not. One said, if she's pulling my energy, that means she's in my universe. After he and she both said, I don't want her to pull my energy. All of the ones that say, I'm a member are not members. Then it's some on the other side that say, if you were a member, you wouldn't be there. But they hear, if you were a member, you wouldn't be here. Because it's all type of hexagons going around. They don't know how to do it. They act like they do. But this is something that was placed on them when they ascended because they weren't supposed to. So those that had destiny swabs done on them and it was effective, you understand why that happened. And if you don't, you need to book with me. Everyone that has a major role in this paradigm shift ascension has had something done to them spiritually. At the beginning, my spiritual spouse came to me because of that reason. We had separate lives. I was talking to the big G. I said, this is after being 6 years celibate, just having a conversation. I said, Big G, why it is, I can't have love? Like somebody that really loved me. And he said, because there's no love on this planet. And it didn't dawn on me. And I said, what? I said, come on, Big G. You can't do you telling me out of all the men in the world, there's not gonna be one that I love and that loves me. You know, do you know at the same time my spiritual spouse was being questioned and asking questions at the same time. Your spiritual spouse knows who you are because before you ascend, they are notified if you are a woman. Even if they're married to someone else, because in the big G's eyes, that marriage is ankatina, obsolete, because he weds you. Now, those that say, I have a choice, you do have a choice. But after you ascend, it's repercussions to your choices. And they play out right before our eyes. The ones that get the notion to say, I don't want Ether's life, I don't want so and so's life, have ascended and descended. They feel like they were somewhere where they get their wishes and grants fulfilled, and they also feel like others forfeited theirs by talking to them. It's been all kind of mind manipulation tactics taking place for those that are inakina, falling. The best way to describe it is in that scene, Get Out, when the black dude, when they zoomed into his eyes and he looked frightened. And then you seen a scene of him falling backwards through a void, because that's what that was. That's what's happening to them. This is a fraction of these individuals that are in a hospital because it's gotten so bad. There was a reader a few years ago that said, so and so is going to end up in a facility. And she was right. A few of the individuals that seen that reading said, make her believe it's going to be her because she should have never channeled our energy. This is what happens when these ones go into a coma. Some of them, they don't even realize that they're gone and they're still talking. Because again, right, when you are being, what did I say before? This is a meat suit. Whatever keeps us going, besides our heart, our lungs, our brain, there's something there, and it's called a being. That being keeps talking because the big G gave it a voice. And he gave it a voice so y'all would understand spirituality. Because we say little catchy, trendy things like it happens spiritually first, but we don't really understand it. We say it because it sounds good to say. A lot of us do. but we don't understand what it truly means. It's a spark, like you go to light something, but you need fire first. It's an initiation. You roll a lighter and it sparks. You swipe a match and there you have fire. Then you go to place the fire. That's the best way to describe spirituality. Spiritual practices. One said, this is one that felt like I believed that everything that was happening to them was meant for me. He said, Ona kisina shakati. So you shouldn't have did that. If she believes that it's happening to her, she'll go after them. And I'm sitting right here, and he's hopping state to state because he is so frightened to stay in one place. There was another reader that said, if you are truly protected, then you could go outside. They vibed off of that for 2 years while hopping state to state, telling individuals to go outside if they are protected, thinking that they're talking to my members, wanted to be my members, but it wasn't. Now, some of you readers, you understand what is happening to you spiritually because these are individuals that were watching you, frequenting your businesses, paying for readings, donating, and all of that stuff. So you could keep pulling their energy. There is several readers that come up in my reading, in my readings. This one that I released last night, the second one on tier 2, is talking about a collective of readers, their involvement in what was taking place with someone spiritually, a group of people spiritually. There's no amount of roots. Entities are the ones that back away from. He wants to talk about what type of leaf needs to be burned. And when he comes in, my team always does it because they want him to have brain fog and her too. So now you understand that I said it's my team, my spiritual team that does it to you. So you can stop, not me. For those that are wondering what's happening is he wants to talk about sage. Which one will back off? Elect ones. Elect ones aren't doing that to you. It's the things that you called on from that demonology book that is doing it to you. And when I told him that, he said, I'm not booking with her. She's too expensive. And I said, poof, be gone. If there were members that did it to themselves, he's back, y'all. Some of you, you readers know that he watches you because you do it. I came on because I wanted to say publicly, because I don't know, the big G, he does things right. And, up until this point, they believed that the big G was working against me because I was a fallen angel. And therefore, the big G was going to allow them to request that I be homeless, request to they wanted things to happen to my family. I mean, some of the stuff that they asked for because I was a fallen angel is things that I have never ever requested for anyone. They are treacherous, these ones. One said, I gotta be an old soul because I could do things to people spiritually. Look at the way that they think. If they were to get diagnosed, let me tell you something. These ones are not like that. They're not like the some of them are going there though. These ones, they try to manip the system. They'll go in there overacting to get funds. They're not gonna do anything that is threatening to anyone because they are finessers. These ones here. When I get off, they're going to say that we have to use something from her live so that the others that are in the same situation, don't get it twisted, will believe that we're communicating with her. It is so many that get to a certain region and say, I am not ether. I am not ether. I am not Sedagesias. I am not Sedagesias because of what they hear. They want me to believe that it's supposed to be for me, which is funny. Like, eh, eh, those of you that hear this stuff, you don't have to hear it. You can reach out to me at oracleoftheether@gmail.com. Book with me, join the membership, donate. I just wanted to state a few things about phenomena so we can just understand that living is not solely about eating, defecating, and making money and paying bills. It's not just about that. Well, the one with it's going to get worse and worse and worse because he wants to prove to someone that he can sit in the live. You know, that's what y'all get. Y'all get confirmation that it is happening, who it's happening to, because these ones have a job. They say, I'm not donating. I don't have to because I'm the one that's making it happen. It's one, he lifts everything. Not like driving. He has an issue. He just took a stapler off of your desk. You know, it, they say he's not gonna believe that because we're friends. We've been knowing each other since high school. Great guy. All your stuff. Yeah, well, yeah, everything that you did within the last couple of weeks, because you keep saying, I'm a member, it's taking too long for part twos. I know that for part twos is it's tier two. So that's the only one I know about. I'm a member, and part two is never showcased on her home channel. You don't ever see part two. You don't see tier two showcased on her home channel. Or do we? Not members. Let me tell you something. My members are not sitting there saying, "I'm going to watch this reading." Blah 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 blah. Listen, y'all. One said, "I convinced someone to do a hexkana." They said a curse. I convinced someone to do a curse so either would release all the behind the scenes readings, right? Because she noticed that the icon in the middle, The emblem that I have there in the middle, she noticed that it was different. And because she noticed it, she said, "This got to be a behind the scenes reading." And it was. So she figured that everyone would believe that she was a member, first of all, because she shared it. And second of all, that she was getting me to release all of my members' videos. Could you imagine that? The mind manipulation tactic. That one is one that is in a toxic relationship. Her stuff came out on tier 2 as well, but she's not a member, so she don't know what's going to happen. I do, but she doesn't. And whenever I choose to release it, then she'll see it or she might not. You may see it or you might not. The thing about it is they poke the bear, y'all. But if you're something like me, right? At some point, you just be like, F it, you know, F it. It's time to pull up. You know, at some point, because you like it's just too much. You're going too far. You're saying too much. It's just time to pull up. So all the archangels, they're like, you know, either don't, either don't, either don't. You know, you know. That's when it's like, either just cool, just be cool, type ish. You know, either don't take breaks. Y'all know that, right? I said, the thing about me is the big G will put me in a place where I could create it spiritual, LAW. He'll put me there, like, because these ones, y'all, have done so much to not just me, people in general, even animals, that he's like, okay, you know, they believe that they are a part of the generation. That's what they call it. They don't say era, where he's not going to dismiss them completely because they're beings. In his mind, all beings live for eternity. That's what he's saying. But where though? And when I say something like Mordor, they don't like that because that means you are somewhere else and it goes down 24 hours a day. When they realize these ones that y'all hear, that that's where they at, then they might be quiet. Because the reason why you hear them is because they're either on their way to Mordor or they're already there. This is a fact, a phenomenon. When I come on, because I still got to share, just in case, whether if it's now or in the future, whether if you grasp the information or your grandchild grasps the information, maybe it'll be seen in another life. It'll be documented somewhere so when someone that really needs to hear it hears it, they'll understand somewhat of what's taking place with them. You need to worry about going to tinkle in that cup because the last individual that was in your situation, they got them clank clanks on them as soon as they went into the office. So I wouldn't be doing that. You need to hurry up because your bus is coming. You see? Is it somebody like, look, listen, I know, yes, they talk themselves all the way into a hole. Is a group that says All of us got to go sometime. Yeah, but where? And this is why I want individuals to think about what happens to your being after life, because it's important. It steers the way that we treat people right now today. If I were to say to you, the way you treat that individual on the curb is going to determine, yes, the individual sleeping on the curb right now, while you are inside of a warm house, the way you treat that individual will have something to do with the way you get treated in the afterlife. Then, when you put it out there like that, especially someone that has spiritual weight like me, when you put it out there like that, then that changes lives. I'm not one sitting back and saying, "Oh, I'm going to heal you, clear you, and not tell you about the possibilities of what's taking place." I have not heard no one say that publicly that has spiritual weight like me. I'm like 100-pound weight on you, both hands. You know, I used to exercise with 10-pound ankle weights and weighted gloves. Some of y'all know I took a picture with my weighted glove. I would exercise with that stuff. So I know that 100 pounds is heavy because I also lifted 100 pounds, 50-pound weights in both hands, like the kind you use when you go to the gym, not the dainty ones, the dude ones. So I know 100-pound weight is heavy. When I said there's someone that uses weights in their incantation, because that's what it is, it's not a spell, to make someone feel weighed down, it is because I felt that energy because it was you. You walk around, not the people that are in observation. This individual that feels like he wants to convince who he thinks it's y'all, the ones that are in the chat, because he left. He what it is he wants to connect with anyone that's somewhere else so he could say switch. Because he believes that when he says switch, he gets to take your place. This is how simple-minded they are. They believe they're doing it to each other because the big G is allowing it. So when he says it and he hears one of he okay, say for instance, he hears someone talking or if he don't hear someone talking, he'll say something disrespectful to get someone to say something. And if they happen to, he says switch. He believes that it's that simple. Like if it was that simple to do you know how many people would be doing it? He feels like that's a destiny swap. It's happening to a group of them, but not where he's at. He hears it because he's in line. I hope y'all understand what I'm saying to you. Some of y'all not even picking up on the voices. You're picking up on frequencies. There's like a tone. He believes it's renaissance, and that's not what it is. He believes that he's so advanced that he's picking up on the frequencies of Earth. This is what he wants to sell y'all. You ever notice how it's always butterflies that someone that is a so-called practitioner, guru, yogi wants you to buy? He wants to sell you a heightened awareness. It's always something that is non-confrontational. It's always something, "Oh, you are a supreme being now. Now. Now it's you." Before it was veganism. Yeah, "I'm going to sell you, the way to health, everlasting, so you can reach omniconsciousness because that is what yogis are in. You know, it's a bunch of bull. They were pushing the veganism narrative. You will be connected in a way you will be able to bend over backwards. Look at me. I am so flexible. That's what they do to the women and females. Look at me in this position. You see how my head bends all the way to my feet? Why is it always seductive? Why do we get why we that's that's what a lot of us buy into. That's spiritual stuff there. Yoga and stuff, that's spiritual. Y'all do understand that. It's not meant for exercising. It's connecting. So y'all sitting here saying, I'm going to sit here and ding this bell and I'm going to and then I'm going to try to do the splits. Yeah, this is what they sell women and females as heightened awareness. Look at me, look how flexible he's going to love this type ish. Y'all think that that's what spirituality is for women? I could bend over backwards and my head touches my foot. Type ish. Come on now. D- d- li- it's always stuff, they don't want to touch, why did so and so cap somebody? You know what I'm saying? They don't want to touch that because that's real. You know that's real. You know what I'm saying? If you could bend over backwards and make your head touch your feet, you flexible. You know what I'm saying? What that got to do with everything that's wrong with the world? You know what I'm saying? Look, why did so and so Cap take out his whole family, her whole family? You know what I'm saying? Like they don't want to touch that. That's too hard for them. So we're going to sell you yoganism. You just got to eat clean for 6 years and everything that's wrong with you is going to dissipate. Type ish. Come on now. Let's keep it funky. Look, they don't want to they're not on my level. They want to sell you my level. Listen, drink this and you'll be heightened like ether. You sure will be. You sure will be. Listen, they cannot sell you a frequency. There's no amount of cleaning your system that's ever going to be better than what the big G do. You know, miraculous healing. Some people that really experience it, they don't know that they reached a certain point, they ascended and it came off. He is the number one provider of placebo. Y'all know what I'm talking about? You'll be sitting there saying, you'll be sitting there saying these vitamins work. And the whole time, he didn't put you to sleep and cleaned everything out. This how he worked. It's so many sides to the big G. Y'all think the era where you go to the witch doctors and the wishing because that's who did it, and they do a root tonic and all of that, elixirs and stuff is long gone. Y'all not finna go to no market and get no root beet, you know what I'm saying? And that's gonna clean your system. In some places it works, but that's because you've ascended to a place where he's allowing it. Because you're not communicating with him yet. You got to get to a certain place before he start talking to you. There was something that was spiritual that talked about the unclean. Okay, people being unclean. That you're not gonna be able to talk to him if you're not clean spiritually, not religiously, spiritually. That's true. Like some stuff is perfect sense. If you got all this stuff on you, you're not gonna be able to hear him, first of all, let alone talk to him. So you're unclean. Ain't got nothing to do with pork. Y'all, listen. If the big G wanted you to eat a tire, if he came to you and said, "Eat this tire," we know there's all type of toxins in rubber. If he came to you and said, "Eat this tire," some of y'all need to eat a tire. You know what I'm saying? Because you done did all of this stuff thinking that you're cleaning your system, and now you just got gas. You know what I'm saying? You don't know you done mixed all kind of herbs. What is true is that when you mix stuff together, it causes a chemical reaction. Why do you think there is big business in perfumes? You know what I'm saying? Somebody say, I'm going to go, you know, I'm going to go and create my own scent. If it were pure leaves that you were mixing, you would have an issue because the ones that are trained in it know that you can't mix certain scents. You can't mix certain chemicals. You can't mix certain herbs. At one point, certain flowers released toxic syncotine scent. They would say, "Do not have this indoors. This is a outdoor plant." Now y'all understand, right? That's one fraction of why you have outdoor plants and indoor plants. Because if it were to grow indoors, it would be a whole bunch of toxins in there, and your animals start chewing on it. You wake up Fluffy gone. Fluffy done chewed Fluffy done chewed on all your plants that's on the that's on the ground. You know, you like, why Fluffy? Why, mommy? Why Fluffy? Because you didn't grew a outdoor plant on the inside. Makes sense? Do it make sense, y'all? Y'all over there saying I'm about to smell. You know, they should have been. You know, they should have been. I do know there's places where you could make your own sense. That's why I'm teasing, right? Look, it, you know, you could they should have been created this. This is bomb right here. I can sell this. Then all of a sudden you itch. You're like, wait, I know it's not. I know it's scratch, scratch. Why I got a bald spot? Because you didn't made your own. You didn't sat there and decided you didn't need school for this. You know what I'm saying? They selling it, so it must be covered. Y'all keep playing with the game and see what happened. You know, you know, there is a place where you can make your own scents, right? It's not perfume. You can make your own scents. You know, I seen some I seen some influencers do it. And even then I was like, wow, there is a component that you put in it that evens everything out. They know that, but I'm talking about the ones that do it at home. Perfect example, aromatherapy. Let me just take this pure what they sell you is pure. Imma take this and Imma put this in my diffuser. That type don't go in a diffuser, first of all. So you about to have all kind of salt build up, hydrochloric acid and everything else in that machine, and when you get ready to turn it on, it's gonna smell like dirt. This is why they sell you their own chemical compound with diffusers. When you say, "Well, I could," it's the same thing. It look the same thing. You gonna stick that that air wick in that glade and something gonna blow up. You know what I'm saying? That's the type ish. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all keep playing with fire. That is it.